So my story, JD Vance, guys, I don't know, did you see what he's been doing to? He is on a rampage.
They call it a Churchill moment. It is the most polite evisceration of a nation, a series of nations that you could possibly imagine, and the most well-deserved.
I love this. So just for everybody who didn't see it, last week at Munich Security Conference, Vice President JD Vance, I want to call them harsh truths to all the leaders of Europe. He called them out for stifling free speech, ignoring the real issues of their citizens are facing. He highlighted some examples like a British Army vet, and I'll say it just in case, because I don't want to play the whole thing. The whole thing is like 4 minutes. Examples of a British Army vet convicted for silent praying near an abortion clinic, 50 meters away, not even close. They arrested him, and a Christian in Sweden persecuted for burning a Quran. I could see you getting your butt whooped for that, but putting him in jail, like that's, I don't know. But this is a clip of him, bro, and this pissed off so many people. Now let's play the clip.
I look to Brussels, where EU commissars warn citizens that they intend to shut down social media during times of civil unrest.
Put the volume up a
moment
little
they
bit,
spot what they've judged to be, quote, hateful content. Or to this very country, where police have carried out raids against citizens suspected of posting anti-feminist comments online as part of, quote, combating misogyny on the internet, a day of action. I look to Sweden, where 2 weeks ago the government convicted a Christian activist for participating in Quran burnings that resulted in his friend's murder. And as the judge in his case chillingly noted, Sweden's laws to supposedly protect free expression do not, in fact, grant, and I'm quoting, a free pass to do or say anything without risking offending the group that holds that belief. Wow. And perhaps most concerningly, I look to our very dear friends, the United Kingdom, where the backslide away from conscience rights has placed the basic liberties of religious Britons in particular in the crosshairs. A little over 2 years ago, the British government charged Adam Smith Connor, a 51-year-old physiotherapist and an Army veteran, with the heinous crime of standing 50 meters from an abortion clinic and silently praying for 3 minutes.
Silently.
Not obstructing anyone, not interacting with anyone, just silently praying on his own. And after British law enforcement spotted him and demanded to know what he was praying for, Adam replied simply, it was on behalf of the unborn son he and his former girlfriend had aborted years before. Now, the officers were not moved. Adam was found guilty of breaking the government's new buffer zones law, which criminalizes silent prayer and other actions that could influence a person's decision within 200 meters of an abortion facility. He was sentenced to pay thousands of pounds in legal costs to the prosecution. Now, I wish I could say that this was a fluke, a one-off crazy example of a badly written law being enacted against a single person. But
Europe,
no,
baby.
this last October, just a few months ago, the Scottish government began distributing letters to citizens whose houses lay within so-called safe access zones, warning them that even private prayer within their own homes may amount to breaking the law.
Private prayer in your
Naturally,
house.
the government urged readers to report any fellow citizen suspected guilty of thought crime. In Britain and across Europe, free speech, I fear, is in retreat.
First things first.
Go ahead.
He was drinking a lot of coffee before he gave that speech, right?
No,
That's untrue.
Bada bing, bada
hey,
boom.
yeah, I put the speed on 1.5 because that's how we roll.
This is welcome to Europe. I mean, these are contemporary examples. Remember back in the day, the guy went to jail, ended up getting murdered for leaving a ham sandwich in front of a mosque.
Yeah.
In the UK, they're locking up people, sentencing them to 3 years for mean so-called anti-immigrant social media posts.
Yeah.
You stay the hell out of Europe. It's not a free place anymore.
When I say it's cooked, just as a whole. Remember we were talking about England and Leeds with all the things that they were doing with the children and the Pakistani, what gangs and all that stuff. It's like, bro, nothing is going right. And dude, what a ballsy move to go there and go in front of all these people and be like, yo, guys, you guys better change. Because this is not good. I mean, bro, they're blindly, they're not going to listen to him, bro. And he didn't stop there. He pointed out that their threats, Europe's threats, aren't from the outside. The real threat isn't Russia or China, but from within. The mass immigration and censorship. And this is, the officials didn't take kindly to his words. The foreign policy chief, Kaja Kallas, accused Vance of trying to pick a fight with Europe. And this, German defense minister, Boris Pistorius, he calls his comments not acceptable. Look how mad, bro, meaning he had to write this speech on the cuff and say, whatever he says, I have to comment about it. Play this, Nat.
This is why I cannot just ignore what we heard before. I cannot not comment on the speech we heard by the US Vice President. We fight for your right to be against us. That is the motto, one of the mottos of the Bundeswehr, and it stands for our democracy. This democracy that was just called into question by the US Vice President, and not just the German democracy, but Europe as a whole. He spoke of the annulment of democracy, and if I understood him correctly, he compares the condition of Europe with the condition that prevails in somewhat authoritarian regimes. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not acceptable.
So he's up there literally, because he had to rewrite the speech, he's literally up there going, These people have no idea what they're talking about. How dare you point out us? We fight for your right to say what you want. You're doing the complete opposite. You don't want anybody talking. Like what does that remind you of? That type of
who's the EU leader guy? He's got a French-ish name, and he was the one who basically threatened.
Steermer?
No, he's British. The head of the EU. He's got whatever. Threatened Elon Musk.
Shit, who was that?
I'll get his name.
World Economic Forum guy?
No. The head of the
European Union.
But it doesn't matter. We'll get his name in a second.
If only there was some sort of repository of information where we could go to find these things out.
You got France, which Macron literally said we're going to shut down social media posts as it relates to things like riots. What they need to do and what they're trying to do and what they're effectively doing is deterring, criminalizing speech that criticizes their immigration policy, because it's exactly why France is going to the shitter and why England is going to the shitter, and people take to social media to complain about, quote, bad immigrants, and they say, you can't do that, that's hate speech, because it draws attention to our failed immigration policy.
Yeah, and you know what's crazy? You can't even hear, but by the way, I know people from Europe that are like, this is Assyrians in Germany, Assyrians in Sweden, that message me, bro. It's so hard for them to speak out because on social media, they can't post it.
Exactly.
So when people are like, you guys don't know what you're talking about, I'm like, no, you can't hear what these people are talking about. That's the problem. If they post something, can you imagine, because I'm going to show this clip, who's the person?
Thierry Breton. This is his name.
God bless you.
Yeah.
But what's his name?
I was going to say it again.
Comedy guy. So guys, so remember this, Amy, all the stuff that he talked about, everything that JD Vance put them on blast with, and then the minister goes up there and they're all complaining and crying. This doesn't happen. This is CBS, who joined German police to conduct a raid on a citizen. Guys, not for cocaine, not for assault, not for the R word, for posting a meme online. Not regular speed, right, babe?
For like
0.
20 years.
Well, did you guys see? It was going around on X. The German police actually finally losing it during one of the, I think it was Islamic protests that were taking place, and they finally one of the male police officers went ham on.
Oh yeah, I did see he was kicking and hitting everybody. Oh yeah, they're tired of that. Well, it's only a
everyone
matter
has
of
a breaking
time.
point. Everyone has a breaking
But
point.
you appreciate, it's funny, I didn't see the cartoon. They call it racist as though that's a foregone conclusion, when what they might be qualifying as racist is saying there's too many foreigners in Germany. So they call it racist, don't show what it was, because it probably wasn't racist, and then
worse, you
knock
find
down
it
the guy's
funny when
door.
you saw
Oh no, funny, but here's the thing, and here's my thing. Even if it was, let's say, because everybody has their opinion, bro. There's a level meter of racist. If I think this is racist, sensitive people, put that aside. If you post something racist, let's say in America, you don't go to jail. It circulates and everybody knows exactly who the hell you are, and then you have to face the fire, you get fired, all that stuff. I'm all for that. But to arrest somebody for posting some stupid shit, I'm anti that 1,000%.
On a scale of 1 to Kanye, where do you guys think
Yeah,
it was
well,
sitting?
Kanye. Well, think about it.
Kanye.
Kanye. Quick question back to you. Do you think anybody should get arrested for posting something that's, let's say, in their mind that it's a funny joke? I'm not saying straight out like the N-word or stupid shit like that. I'm just saying.
No, even that. I mean, it should be discouraged, but it shouldn't be illegal. You shouldn't be able to take somebody to prison for it. All of this stuff is completely by design, like you said, because now even the people who don't believe what is being espoused, they can't speak up about it for fear of genuinely very harsh punishments. All of this is completely by design to disenfranchise, disempower, and to completely dilute the identity of those nations.
I agree.
And what's so scary to me, guys, is I feel like had Trump not won and the Kamala administration gotten in 4 more years, I know that we have things to protect us, the First Amendment, Second Amendment. Who knows where we would be in 4 years from now? I wouldn't be surprised if it was something very similar.
Well,
to what we're seeing in
you would have
Europe
had
right
it
now.
within the first 2 months, because, as Walt said, the First Amendment. The First Amendment doesn't give you the right to promote disinformation, misinformation.
Of course, and that's what they always do. And there's this huge segment of the population, typically on the right, that believes, no, as long as the Second Amendment is in place, all the other rights are protected. You've heard that a lot,
course.
I'm assuming. And ideally, that would be true, where as long as you have your right to self-defense, the right to own firearms, they can't take the rest of their rights away from you. Problem is, during COVID, we saw that they can do that. They will take every right away from you and leave the guns sitting there, because
100%.
we have government officials that will sit there and say on TV with a smile, What do you need an AR-15 for? We have F-16s and nuclear warheads. There's nothing you can do.
I remember that Biden said that.
Yeah, Biden said it, and multiple members of Congress said it as well. So great, you got the guns, but they're sending you to jail for things you post online. They're censoring you. They have all the social media platforms flagging you as misinformation, just even for questioning, the results of an election or the efficacy of certain medical procedures.
Yeah.
But they go out of their way to do that, and they are taking the rights away from you and without even realizing it.
Yep. Chris, what do you think?
Well, I think that the reason it's been allowed to happen is because it is effective. I mean, they've seen it work before. I'm pretty active on Twitter. I'd say probably more than anything else. And there was a period of time where I would write something out, read it, I don't know, and I'd let it go. And then I got to a point eventually where I was just like,
Yeah,
it's time. This can't happen anymore. And when people see that it is effective, the only reason they keep doing it is because it works. And we've seen countries and continents where it's completely, changed everything.
And I respect JD Vance because, bro, mind you, he's an American. We have the Constitution. We have all that stuff here. He's just over there letting the people know because people are watching that. He can give a shit about the leaders. He's like, guys, this is not good. What you're doing is wrong. The people, bro, and like you said, Amy, it's only a matter of time till people flip out. This next clip, these are German officials. I said officials. Officials saying it's a crime to, dude, insult someone online and then repost something that isn't true. Play this clip. I think these guys get me sick.
Bear in mind,
And they're laughing about it, too.
Well, these are the prosecutors. So when I first saw this, I didn't know if they were criticizing the policy or affirming the legitimacy. Those are the prosecutors. It's insanity. Let me read. Thierry Breton. Remember what he said?
Bless you again. You might have a cold.
We are monitoring the potential risks in the EU associating with the diminution of content that may incite violence, hate, or racism in conjunction with major political or societal events. This is when they urged Elon to think about what he was allowing on the platform. It is purely to hide the disastrous consequences of their failed government.
You know what incited a lot of that racist hatred and anger? A migrant stabbing a bunch of girls to death at a Taylor Swift-themed dance class.
Yeah.
So you know what? Maybe it's a little bit justified when people get pissed off and say there's too many immigrants coming into this country completely unchecked and unvetted, and they're killing people in the streets. So these people in the UK who get locked up for causing anxiety. I don't know if you ever came across that one.
Yeah, of course I have.
They might be in a cell right next to Axel Rudacabana, the guy who stabbed those girls at the dance class, or in a cell next to the people arrested for praying outside the abortion clinics. Don't gloss over that because that case Vance mentioned, it's not the only time that's happened. I can think of at least 4 others that were arrested. Or when the UK dragged off a 16-year-old autistic girl because she happened to remark that a lady cop looked like she might be a lesbian.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw that video a few years ago.
I did.
And
No, wow.
the UK has nothing but hatred for its own people and nothing but suicidal empathy for the rest of the world who comes in like, oh, you poor put-upon child. I know you stabbed a bunch of girls, but it must be because of your lack of access to social programs. And what racist memes drove you to this act of anger?
Not his father, who was a freaking terrorist.
Of
not
course.
his dad, who was a terrorist from Uganda, wasn't he? And then they came over here.
Yeah.
No, the parents are Christian. I think it was the kid who stabbing one.
They found out they were not Christians.
No, they're definitely not. Yeah, they're like, he went to a Christian school. No. When you saw the photo, he looks like a demon, bro. And like this is in closing, because you're talking about the immigration. Did you guys see this clip where JD Vance is at the National Conservatism? I don't know. I don't even know where this was.
Munich.
But in Munich, is it the same thing?
No, this was a different conference.
Oh, this is a different conference. But he's saying he's talking about which country, Islamic country, is going to have the first nuclear weapon. Please, because he knows what's happening in the UK. Play this clip.
I was talking with a friend recently, and we were talking about, one of the big dangers in the world, of course, is nuclear proliferation, though, of course, the Biden administration doesn't care about it. And I was talking about, what is the first truly Islamist country that will get a nuclear weapon? And we were like, maybe it's Iran, maybe Pakistan already kind of counts. And then we sort of finally decided maybe it's actually the UK, since Labour just took over.
Oh, my God.
I mean,
But
by the way, have you seen the percentage of how many people are actually born?
It's like 20%,
Germany and
25% are born.
By the way, it's they don't give a damn, bro. And okay, can you just play briefly, because I know we want to move to the next story. As a leader of a nation, of a leader of Sweden, Germany, all these places, the UK, what is the plus of letting everybody in, especially from these countries that are stabbing and doing? The facts are the facts. I don't give a shit if it
It's
hurts
very
your
simple.
feelings.
What the reason is, you hate your own people.
Why?
When
What the hell is your
the
problem?
German government and the British government, there's no other explanation besides they hate their people. They hate the identity of being from these countries. They hate their identity as Europeans. They hate the fact that they're white. So they have to, as an act of atonement, basically just let whoever they want or whoever wants to come in and get away with murder, essentially.
I think it is the Frank Underwood from House of Cards.
I love it.
They create the terror so they have something to govern.
Oh,
I mean,
God.
they know what problems it's going to cause. The worse it gets, the more they have to double down. And they've created a crisis that they have to manage by way of taking away your rights and giving themselves more power.
That drives me.
I'm very curious to look into like voter ID laws in Europe as well. Like, do you guys know how that functions? Like, could it be a similar thing where a lot of people speculated that here in the US, a big part of why the Biden administration was pushing to have so many people come over here was so they could win in those crucial swing states that don't require any voter ID. I wonder if it's a part of the same ploy to keep more liberal and progressive leadership.
I don't think so in terms of that. I think in terms of Germany and the push to take in all the Syrians back in in 2015, it is the post-Holocaust guilt that they have. Where they're like, in order to atone for our sins of like 80 years ago, we now have to have such an open heart that people come in and stab it. And then, by the way, they turn around and realize like a little while later, it's such a big problem, we got to pay them to go back. And then they say also, we got to let them in because these are refugees fleeing conflict that we are helping exacerbate by way of our global conquests and Western wars. So it's like it's a self-fulfilling prophecy and also just a black hole. But no, they are they're causing the problems that they then have to empower themselves to regulate, and that's good for government but bad for the people.
Great. So if you like this clip, click right here. And if you want to see more like it, click right here. Stay angry, Patriots.